Hi, I'm Larry Knowles, president of Advent Christian Retirement Communities with campuses in Vermont and Maine, which I think you know. I'd like to say it's great to see you, but I can't, but that's okay. Even a virtual report to the Eastern region is a good thing because, as you've heard me say before, we consider the region our backyard, our home base. Most of our gift support and general encouragement comes from the New England states and the Canadian provinces, and we're grateful for that. So it's good to be here, even if it's just virtually. And the fact that it's virtual is evidence that we all continue to live in the shadow of a pandemic, which is of particular concern to us because we are stewards of over 200 seniors who are an especially vulnerable population to the vagaries of the coronavirus. Now, here in Kittery, things have been quiet, thankfully. In the last year, there's been no impact of the pandemic on our residents' health. Prior to that, only minimally. Of course, our greater concern is for the Vernon campus, where there is a nursing home and an assisted living facility, and a population of seniors, again, especially vulnerable to the virus. Now, I say this facetiously, but seriously. If anyone came to you and offered to sell you the nursing home business at a great deal, I would tell you to run in the other direction. Because in the last 18, 19 months, the long-term care profession has been absolutely rocked by what's been going on. Whether it's through staffing shortages that are the result of the overall labor crisis in the country, to hyperactive government restrictions, to a massive reduction in census, which creates tremendous fiscal strains for providers, to what's most important, the potential impact on the health and the potential death of residents. All have converged to really decimate the long-term care profession since this all began. Now in Vernon, they are not immune to these adversities. But though bruised and embattled, Brad Ellis and his team and the residents of the Vernon community have sought to carry on and do. And we look to God's grace to maintain them, even as such a time as this. But more than maintain, what's going on is something I've shared with you before. Over in Vernon, they continue to pursue what we call our greenhouse vision. The greenhouse is a revolutionary, innovative concept in long-term care for the frail elderly needing 24-hour oversight. If you'd like to know more about it, you can go to the Vernon website, vernonhomes.org, and learn about it. But the greenhouse vision is a tremendous, tremendous innovation in the way nursing home care is rendered. And it's in line with our historic legacy as being innovators. We hope to break ground in about a year. Meanwhile, Brad and his team are working on site engineering, architectural plans, funding mechanisms, cooperating with Vermont's crazy environmental laws, other government permits. So I'm glad to report that vision is continuing, even in the midst of a pandemic. You know, some might say to us, why are you doing this now? Most long-term care providers are just looking to survive. Why now? Well, if you're familiar with biblical history, you know that those called to serve Almighty God are often called to do so at times and in ways that are against the odds. And that's where we find ourselves now. Much like our founders were a little over 100 years ago when they founded the original Vernon home in the midst of a pandemic. So with all that said, thank you for the opportunity to report. We continue to care for those entrusted to us. We continue to seek to maintain and improve our campuses with your help, whether it's prayers or gifts. And as I often do, I'll leave you with a mild admonition. The charter verse for anyone called to care for seniors from Leviticus. Rise up before the elderly, honor the aged, and revere your God. I am the Lord. I love the parallelism in that verse. Honoring and respecting the aged is put on par with reverence for God. So whether it's in your own family, in your own church, through outreach or internally, whether it's through supporting our communities in Vermont and Maine, I encourage you to take heed to that ancient call. Thank you again for your time, your attention, and may grace be with you all.